Hello and welcome, my amazing friends. Today we are starting something very special. Today we are talking about the Bhagavad Gita. And before we go deeper, let me say something clearly. This is not a religion video. This is not about trying to make you follow any tradition. This is not about forcing any belief on you. This is not about saying one group of people is right and everyone else is wrong. This is about life. This is about your pain, your confusion, your fear, your overthinking, your purpose, your mind, your inner battle. That is why this book matters so much. The Bhagavad Gita is one of those rare books that does not speak only to one country, one culture, or one time. It speaks to the human heart. It speaks to the person who feels lost. It speaks to the person who is tired mentally. It speaks to the person who wants to move forward, but feels something inside is broken, confused, or afraid. And that is why, even if my audience is international, I still wanted to make this video. Because truth is truth. Wisdom is wisdom. Pain is pain. Fear is fear. And human struggle is the same everywhere. A confused mind in India is still a confused mind. A broken heart in America is still a broken heart. A fearful person in Europe is still a fearful person. A lost soul anywhere in the world still wants the same thing: peace, clarity, strength, meaning, direction. And this book speaks directly to those things. I am making this video because, in my own way, this book truly changed me. Not because it gave me some magic formula, not because it made life easy, not because suddenly every problem disappeared, but because it changed the way I looked at struggle. It changed the way I looked at fear. It changed the way I looked at responsibility. It changed the way I looked at pain. And most importantly, it changed the way I looked at myself. This book made me understand that many of the answers we are desperately searching for outside are actually connected to something deeper inside us. That is why I truly believe this book carries answers to the deepest questions people ask in life. Questions like, why am I suffering? Why am I so confused? Why do I overthink so much? Why do I feel afraid even when I know what I should do? How do I stay calm in difficult times? How do I control my mind? How do I do my duty when my heart feels weak? How do I live with peace in a world full of pressure? How do I become strong without becoming hard? How do I keep going when life feels heavy? The Bhagavad Gita does not answer these questions in a cheap way. It does not give shallow comfort. It does not just tell you to be positive and move on. No, it goes deeper. It enters the battlefield of the human mind. And that is why this book is so powerful. Because the Bhagavad Gita begins not with celebration, not with victory, not with peace, but with a breakdown. A strong man breaks down. A warrior loses clarity. A capable person becomes confused. A person with great skill suddenly does not know what to do. And if we are honest, that is where many people are today. They are not weak. They are not useless. They are not empty. They are just internally fighting a battle no one else can see. The Bhagavad Gita is not just a book of words. It is a mirror. It shows you your fear. It shows you your attachment. It shows you your ego. It shows you your weakness. But it also shows you your hidden strength. It reminds you that your confusion is not the end of your story. It reminds you that your breakdown can become the beginning of your awakening. It reminds you that inside your pain, there can still be purpose. Inside your fear, there can still be courage. Inside your uncertainty, there can still be truth. So in this video, I do not want to explain this book like a dry lesson. I want to bring it to life. I want to explain it in very simple English. I want to explain it in a deep, spiritual, motivational, and powerful way. And I want every person listening to feel as if this wisdom is speaking directly to them. Because maybe it is. Maybe this is not just a video for you. Maybe this is a message for your life right now. So stay with me until the end. Open your mind, open your heart, and let this wisdom enter your life slowly. Because sometimes one truth, deeply understood, can change the direction of your whole life. Chapter 1. The moment a strong person breaks inside. Listen carefully. Before the Bhagavad Gita gives answers, it first shows us a human being in pain. That human being is Arjuna. Arjuna is not a weak man. He is not lazy. He is not foolish. He is not a person with no ability. He is strong. He is disciplined. He is respected. He is skilled. He is a warrior. But in the most important moment of his life, he breaks down. That is where the Gita begins. And this is very important. Because the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita gives one of the most powerful lessons in life. Even strong people can collapse inside when the battle becomes personal. Sometimes people think only weak people cry. Only weak people feel fear. Only weak people become confused. Only weak people want to run away. But that is not true. Sometimes the strongest looking people are carrying the deepest pain. Sometimes the person who smiles outside is breaking inside. Sometimes the person who looks brave to the world is full of questions in private. Sometimes the person who has talent, experience, and abilities still feels lost when life puts them in a painful situation. That is Arjuna. And that is also many people listening to this video. Outwardly, life may look normal. Maybe you wake up, work, talk, smile, eat, and keep moving. But inside, something feels heavy. Inside, you are fighting thoughts nobody can see. Inside, you are asking questions you cannot answer. Inside, you may be tired of pretending to be okay. It starts with a human being who can no longer hide his inner battle. Arjuna stands on the battlefield and looks around. He sees teachers, he sees family, he sees loved ones, he sees people connected to his life. And suddenly, the battle is no longer just a battle. It becomes emotional. His strength shakes, his confidence falls, his clarity disappears, his body reacts, his mind becomes disturbed, his heart becomes weak. And he says, in his own way, I cannot do this. Now stop here and think deeply. How many people are living this same chapter right now? Not on a battlefield with weapons, but on the battlefield of life. A person knows they need to take action, but fear stops them. A person knows they need to speak the truth, but emotions stop them. A person knows they need to move forward, but attachment stops them. A person knows what is right, but the pain of the situation makes them weak. That is modern life. People are not always losing because they are incapable. Many times they are losing because their emotions have taken control of their clarity. Lesson 1. Confusion can enter even a great mind. Arjuna was not a fool, but confusion still entered his mind. Never become proud and think confusion can never happen to you. No matter how smart you are, confusion can enter. No matter how strong you are, weakness can enter. No matter how experienced you are, doubt can enter. Why? Because human life is not only about intelligence. It is also about emotion, attachment, fear, memory, pain, and inner conflict. Sometimes your mind knows one thing, but your heart feels another. Sometimes your duty is clear, but your emotions are louder. Sometimes your path is in front of you, but your inner weakness makes you step back. That is why chapter 1 is not a chapter of failure. It is a chapter of exposure. It exposes what is happening inside a person when they are no longer able to carry their inner conflicts silently. Because spirituality does not begin when you pretend to be above pain. It often begins when you finally become honest about your pain. Real transformation does not begin with pretending. It begins with truth. Arjuna does not pretend to be fearless. He does not act strong just to protect his image. He does not hide his breakdown. He reveals it. Because many people suffer longer than they need to only because they keep pretending. They pretend they are okay. They pretend they are strong. They pretend they are clear. They pretend they know what to do. But inside, they are collapsing. Your healing begins when your honesty begins. The moment you stop pretending is often the moment real wisdom can enter your life. Lesson 2. Your real battle is not outside. It is inside. The battlefield is outside, but the real war is inside Arjuna. Many people think their biggest problem is outside them. They think, my problem is my job. My problem is my family. My problem is money. My problem is pressure. My problem is other people. Very often, your greatest suffering is not the situation itself. It is what is happening inside you while facing that situation. The battlefield was outside Arjuna, but his trembling, confusion, sadness, fear, attachment, and collapse were happening inside him. And this is exactly how life works. Two people can face the same difficulty. One breaks, one grows. Why? Because the outer battle may be the same, but the inner state is different. They do not only talk about changing your outside life. They talk about understanding your inside world. If your inside world is in chaos, even a small problem feels huge. If your inside world is steady, even a huge problem can be faced. This is why inner mastery matters so much. Your thoughts matter. Your perception matters. Your emotional strength matters. Your awareness matters. Because life is not only what happens to you. Life is also how you meet what happens to you. But that is exactly why the teaching begins there. Because wisdom enters where pride ends. Lesson 3. Emotional pain can make you forget your strength. Arjuna had strength. He had skill. He had purpose. He had training. But in one emotional moment, he forgot all of it. This is a very human thing. Sometimes one painful situation can make you forget everything good about yourself. One rejection can make you forget your worth. One failure can make you forget your ability. One painful season can make you forget your purpose. One emotional wound can make you think you are weaker than you really are. This is what happens when pain takes over perspective. Pain narrows your vision. It makes the problem look bigger than your power. It makes fear look wiser than courage. It makes escape look smarter than action. It makes weakness feel like truth. Just because you feel weak does not mean you are weak. Just because you feel lost does not mean you have no path. Just because your mind is shaking does not mean your soul has become small. Just because your emotions are loud does not mean truth has disappeared. Many people need to hear this, because there are moments in life when your feelings lie to you. Your feelings may say, "You cannot do this. You are not ready. You are not strong enough. You should run. You should give up." But feelings are not always truth. Sometimes they are only storms passing through the mind. And if you make permanent decisions in temporary emotional storms, you can damage your own destiny. It warns us about what happens when emotional pain becomes stronger than inner clarity. Lesson 4. Breakdown is not always destruction. Sometimes it is the beginning of wisdom. Arjuna's breakdown feels negative. It feels painful. It feels like weakness. But without that breakdown, the conversation of the Gita would not begin. If Arjuna had stayed proud, silent, and false, he would not have received the wisdom that changed everything. His collapse became the doorway to guidance. Sometimes the moment that embarrasses you becomes the moment that awakens you. Sometimes the moment you feel most broken becomes the moment you finally become open. Sometimes the moment you say, "I do not know what to do," becomes the first moment you are truly ready to learn. To understand that pain is not always punishment. Sometimes pain is preparation. Sometimes confusion is not there to destroy you. Sometimes it is there to bring you to a deeper truth. Sometimes life lets your old confidence break because it wants to build real wisdom in its place. That is why you should never hate every hard season of your life. Some seasons break your illusion so truth can enter. Some seasons break your pride so humility can enter. Some seasons break your false identity so your deeper self can awaken. So when you read chapter 1, do not only see weakness, see the sacred beginning of transformation. See the moment a human being becomes ready for higher guidance. See the moment where ego is shaken and truth gets a chance to speak. Lesson 5. It is not wrong to feel lost, but it is dangerous to stay lost. It shows compassion toward the struggling human mind. And that is important for your audience too, because many people already feel ashamed of their pain. They feel ashamed that they are overthinking, ashamed that they are afraid, ashamed that they are emotionally tired, ashamed that they cannot always stay strong, ashamed that they feel confused in important moments. But the Gita does not begin by insulting human struggle. It begins by showing it. That alone is healing. It tells you, you are not strange for struggling. You are not broken for feeling confused. You are not weak for feeling emotional. But at the same time, the Gita also shows something important. You cannot build your life by sitting forever in confusion. You cannot remain permanently in collapse. You cannot worship your sadness. You cannot make your fear your identity. You cannot turn your emotional state into your permanent home. You may enter confusion, but you must not build your house there. You may feel weak, but you must not decide that weakness is who you are. You may cry, you may shake, you may question, you may pause. But then you must listen, rise, understand, and move. This is where motivation enters. True motivation is not fake excitement. It is deeper than that. True motivation is the moment you realize, yes, I feel lost, but I do not have to remain lost. Yes, my mind is disturbed, but I can learn to steady it. Yes, I feel pain, but pain does not have to become my future. Yes, I am confused, but confusion can become clarity if I am willing to learn. That is real inner power. Today, millions of people are living in this chapter. They look fine outside, but inside, they are mentally exhausted. They are carrying fear of the future, pressure from the world, pain from the past, questions about purpose, confusion about decisions, weakness in moments when they need strength. Many of them do not need more noise. They do not need more pressure. They do not need more fake motivation. They need wisdom. They need something that understands their inner battle. They need something that speaks to the part of them that is silently collapsing. They need something that does not only tell them to work harder, but teaches them how to see clearly when their heart feels heavy. That is why this chapter is so powerful. It says, before action, understand your condition. Before victory, face your inner collapse. Before wisdom transforms you, honesty must open you. If we go even deeper, Chapter 1 teaches that the first step of spiritual growth is not perfection. It is awareness. Awareness of your attachment. Awareness of your emotional weakness. Awareness of your fear. Awareness of your confusion. Awareness of the fact that you cannot save yourself with ego alone. Many people think spirituality means always looking peaceful, always sounding wise, always acting calm. But that is not how it begins. Spiritual awakening often begins when a person sees clearly. My mind is not in control. My emotions are pulling me. My attachment is making me weak. My fear is shaping my choices. I need a deeper truth than my current thinking. Chapter 2. The truth about who you really are. After Arjuna breaks down in Chapter 1, Krishna begins to speak. But Krishna does not begin with a soft, surface-level answer. He does not say, "It's okay, just relax." No, he goes to the deepest truth first. He begins by showing Arjuna that his suffering is coming from a very deep confusion. And that confusion is this: Arjuna has forgotten who he really is. Because most human pain becomes so powerful only when a person begins to identify only with the body, emotions, temporary events, and outer situations. Krishna teaches Arjuna that the body changes, but the true self does not. The body is born, the body grows, the body becomes weak, the body dies. But the soul, the deeper self, the true essence of who you are, does not die. It is eternal. Krishna is teaching Arjuna, you are not just this temporary body. You are not just this moment of fear. You are not just this emotional pain. You are not just this passing confusion. You are something deeper, and this matters so much. Because the moment a human being sees life only from the body level, everything becomes frightening. Loss becomes unbearable. Change becomes terrifying. Pain becomes everything. Death becomes the greatest fear. Failure feels like the end. Aging feels like loss. Temporary pain feels permanent. But when a person starts understanding that the outer form changes while the deeper self remains, a new type of strength enters life. This is not the strength of muscles. This is not the strength of money. This is not the strength of status. This is inner strength. The kind of strength that helps a person stay standing even when life changes. Krishna is not speaking to Arjuna only as a warrior. He is speaking to him as a soul that has forgotten its own nature. And that is exactly what happens to many people today. They think they are only what the world sees. They think, I am my job. I am my money. I am my success. I am my failure. I am my appearance. I am my reputation. I am what people say about me. I am what happened to me. And because of that, they suffer deeply. Because all of these things can change. And when you build your whole identity on things that change, your peace will also keep changing. It begins rebuilding human identity from the ground up. Krishna is telling Arjuna, do not see yourself as small. Do not see yourself as only this body in fear. Do not see yourself only through pain. See deeper. You are not here just to react to life. You are here to understand life and live with wisdom. Lesson 1. Stay steady in pleasure and pain. Krishna then teaches Arjuna something that every human being needs to hear. He explains that heat and cold, pleasure and pain, gain and loss, success and failure come and go. They are temporary. This is a huge lesson, because most people destroy their own peace by treating temporary things as permanent truths. A difficult season comes and they think life is over. A painful emotion comes and they think they will feel like this forever. A failure comes and they think they are a failure forever. A moment of rejection comes and they think they are unworthy. But Krishna says no. These things come and go. They are part of life's movement. And your growth depends on learning how to endure them without losing yourself. This is not coldness. This is not emotional suppression. This is emotional maturity. It means you stop being controlled by every changing experience. If something good happens, you stay balanced. If something painful happens, you stay balanced. If praise comes, you stay balanced. If criticism comes, you stay balanced. Why? Because your center is no longer outside you. Most people live like leaves in the wind. One compliment makes them feel strong. One insult makes them feel broken. One success makes them proud. One failure makes them hopeless. They are always moving up and down because their peace depends on what happens around them. But Krishna teaches a different way to live. He teaches steadiness. He teaches that the person who learns to remain balanced in changing situations becomes truly fit for wisdom and inner freedom. Real power is in not being destroyed by every situation. Lesson 3. Focus on action, not on the fruits of action. Krishna tells Arjuna that he has a right to action, but not to the fruits of action. This means do your duty, do your work, do your best, act with sincerity, but do not become mentally trapped by the result. This teaching is so powerful because most people are not destroyed by action. They are destroyed by anxiety about results. They do not study peacefully because they are terrified of marks. They do not work peacefully because they are obsessed with success. They do not create peacefully because they are afraid of judgment. They do not speak because they fear rejection. They do not start because they fear failure. So even before doing the work, they are already mentally exhausted. Krishna cuts through this problem directly. He tells Arjuna, your job is not to control everything. Your job is to act rightly. Results are not always in your hands. Effort is in your hands. Intention is in your hands. Discipline is in your hands. Courage is in your hands. But the final result is shaped by many things beyond your control. This one lesson alone can free a person from huge mental suffering, because it teaches you how to work with peace. Not lazily, not carelessly, but peacefully. Imagine how life changes when you stop saying, what if I fail? What if this does not work? What if people do not like it? And instead say, my duty is to give my best. My responsibility is action. I will not waste my energy trying to control what is beyond me. That is freedom. Lesson 4. A stable mind is the beginning of wisdom. Krishna then describes the qualities of a person with stable wisdom. He explains what a truly wise person looks like. Not someone who only speaks big words. Not someone who only looks spiritual outside. But someone whose mind has become steady. A wise person is not dragged here and there by desires. A wise person is not broken by fear. A wise person is not intoxicated by pleasure. A wise person is not burning with anger over every small thing. This person has learned to stay centered. This is important because many people think wisdom is only knowledge. But Krishna shows that wisdom is also a state of being. You can read many books and still be unstable. You can speak beautifully and still be weak inside. You can sound intelligent and still be ruled by anger, fear, desire, and ego. So what matters is not only what you know. What matters is what your inner state has become. Lesson 5. When desires endlessly pull your mind outward, your peace disappears. When your senses control you, your clarity disappears. When your attachment becomes too strong, your suffering becomes deep. So if you want wisdom, you must also learn inner discipline. It gives a complete foundation for life. Know who you are. Accept that life changes. Do your duty without attachment to results. Build a stable mind. And from that inner steadiness, live your life. Chapter 3. Why you must act and never escape your duty. After hearing the deep wisdom of Chapter 2, Arjuna becomes confused again. He wonders, if wisdom is so important, if peace is so important, then why act at all? Why not leave everything and avoid difficult responsibilities? This is a very human question. Even today, people ask this in different ways. If life is stressful, why not run away? If responsibility is painful, why not avoid it? If action brings struggle, why not do nothing? Krishna explains that no human being can truly live without action. Action is part of life. Even when you think you are doing nothing, you are still acting in some way. You are thinking, choosing, avoiding, moving, responding. So the question is not whether you will act. The real question is, will you act with wisdom, or will you act with ignorance? This chapter destroys one of the biggest illusions people have. The illusion that avoiding responsibility will bring peace. Krishna teaches the opposite. He teaches that right action is necessary. Not because action is always easy, but because action is part of your growth, your duty, and your role in life. Lesson 1. Inaction is not freedom. Many people think freedom means having no duty, no pressure, no responsibility, no effort, no challenge. But Krishna shows that this is not true freedom. It is often just avoidance. You do not grow by constantly escaping what life asks from you. You do not become peaceful by running away from difficult duties. You do not become strong by always choosing comfort. This is deeply relevant today. Many people delay action because they are afraid. They say they are waiting for the right time, but often they are just afraid. They say they are protecting their peace, but sometimes they are just escaping effort. They say they are not ready, but sometimes readiness comes only after action begins. Krishna teaches that avoiding your rightful duty weakens you. Why? Because every time you run from what you know you should do, your self-respect becomes smaller. A person may fool the world for some time, but deep inside, they know when they are avoiding life. And that avoidance creates inner heaviness. It reminds people that peace does not come only from sitting still. Peace often comes from doing what must be done with the right attitude. Lesson 2. Do your duty for the right reason. Krishna tells Arjuna to perform action without selfish attachment. This means you do not act only for greed, ego, praise, or personal gain. You act because it is right, because it is your role, because it contributes to the order of life, because it is your duty. This is called karma yoga, and it is one of the most practical teachings ever. It means your actions themselves can become a path of growth if you act with the right mindset. You do not need to leave the world to become deeper. You do not need to reject work to become spiritual. You can grow through action itself. How? By changing the inner quality of your action. For example, You can work only for ego, comparison, and praise. Or you can work with sincerity and contribution. You can serve your family with resentment. Or you can serve with love and awareness. You can build your future with anxiety and greed. Or you can build it with discipline and purpose. The outer action may look similar, but the inner energy changes everything. This is what makes the Gita so powerful for modern life. It does not tell everyone to run away to a mountain. It teaches people how to live deeply while still being fully engaged in life. That means your work can become spiritual. Your duty can become spiritual. Your discipline can become spiritual. Your action can become a path to inner growth. The third great teaching of Chapter 3. Desire is the enemy that clouds wisdom. Then Krishna identifies one of the greatest problems in human life. He says that desire, especially selfish and uncontrolled desire, is a powerful enemy. Now, desire here does not simply mean every wish or dream. It means that restless craving which takes over the mind and makes a person lose clarity. It is the energy that says, I must have this now. I cannot be peaceful without it. My whole happiness depends on getting this. If I do not get this, I will burn inside. This kind of desire becomes dangerous because it clouds wisdom. It takes away patience. It takes away balance. It takes away right judgment. A person under the control of blind desire starts doing things they later regret. They become impulsive. They become angry. They become attached. They become jealous. They become restless. Krishna explains that desire lives in the senses, mind, and intellect, and covers wisdom like smoke covers fire. What a powerful image! The fire is there, but smoke hides it. In the same way, your deeper wisdom may still be inside you, but uncontrolled desire can hide it. That is why so many people know the right thing but do the wrong thing. They know discipline is better, but choose comfort. They know honesty is better, but choose appearance. They know peace is better, but choose restless chasing. This teaches that if you want to live wisely, you must learn to govern desire instead of being governed by it. This does not mean killing all ambition. It means purifying ambition. It means wanting things without becoming their slave. It means having goals without losing your soul. Lesson 3. Live as an example. Krishna also says something very powerful. He explains that great people influence others by the way they live. Whatever a leading person does, others follow. This means your life is not only about you. Your choices affect others. Your discipline affects others. Your laziness affects others. Your courage affects others. Your integrity affects others. This is deeply motivational because it makes life bigger than personal comfort. It reminds you that when you live with sincerity, you are not only building yourself, you are also giving permission to others to rise. Parents shape children. Teachers shape students. Creators shape audiences. Leaders shape cultures. Friends shape one another. This chapter teaches that right action matters not only for your own peace, but also because your life becomes a message to the world around you. This makes duty sacred. It is not just pressure. It is responsibility with meaning. Chapter 4. The Power of True Knowledge. If Chapter 3 teaches the importance of right action, Chapter 4 teaches the importance of right understanding. Because action without wisdom can become blind activity, and wisdom without action can become useless theory. So Krishna now explains the power of knowledge. Not just information, not just facts, but knowledge that transforms how you live. Lesson 1. True wisdom is ancient, timeless, and always relevant. Krishna tells Arjuna that this wisdom is not new. It is ancient. It had been known by great beings before. This is a beautiful reminder that truth does not become weak just because it is old. Today, people often think newer means better, but some truths are timeless. Human nature has changed less than people think. People still fear. People still desire. People still become confused. People still search for peace. People still struggle with ego. People still long for meaning. So ancient wisdom remains powerful because it addresses permanent human problems. Lesson 2. When confusion rises, wisdom must return. Krishna explains that whenever righteousness declines and confusion becomes great, he appears to restore balance. On one level, this is a spiritual teaching about divine intervention. But on another level, it also carries a powerful inner message. Whenever darkness rises in your life, truth must rise too. Whenever confusion becomes strong, clarity becomes necessary. Whenever your lower nature becomes dominant, your higher awareness must awaken. It tells you not to believe that confusion has the final word. It tells you that truth can return, balance can return, wisdom can return. The higher part of you can rise again. Even if you have lived in ignorance, there is still a path back. Even if you have made mistakes, there is still a path back. Even if your mind has become polluted by ego, fear, or desire, there is still a path back. Why? Because knowledge has the power to burn ignorance. Lesson 3. Right knowledge burns the chains of the past. Krishna describes knowledge like fire. Just as fire reduces wood to ashes, true knowledge burns the effects of ignorance. Many people live chained to their past. Their old mistakes control them. Their old wounds control them. Their old habits control them. Their old self-image controls them. They think, this is just who I am. I cannot change. My past is too heavy. My mistakes define me. Wisdom can burn through old bondage. Not fake positive thinking, not denial, real understanding. Because when you deeply understand life, yourself, action, and truth, many old chains begin to lose their power. For example, a person trapped in guilt can begin to act differently when wisdom shows them how to learn rather than live in self-hatred. A person trapped in attachment can begin to let go when wisdom shows them the temporary nature of outer things. A person trapped in fear can begin to move when wisdom shows them that right action matters more than endless mental paralysis. This chapter is life-changing because it says no human being is beyond transformation. If they are willing to learn deeply, humility and wisdom can change their whole direction. Lesson 4. Seek wisdom with humility. Krishna tells Arjuna to approach the wise with humility, sincerity, and willingness to learn, because one of the biggest obstacles to growth is ego. A person may be suffering, but still refuse to learn. A person may be confused, but still act as if they know everything. A person may be lost, but still resist guidance because pride is stronger than truth. Chapter 4 teaches the opposite. It teaches humility. Ask, learn, reflect, be open. And this applies not only to spiritual teachers, but to life itself. If life keeps teaching you the same lesson, maybe stop resisting it. If your patterns keep creating pain, maybe become curious about them. If wiser voices are trying to show you something deeper, maybe listen. Humility is not weakness. Humility is what allows truth to enter. This is deeply inspirational because it means growth is always available to the sincere person. Not the person pretending to know everything, but the person willing to learn. Lesson 5. Knowledge and action must come together. By the end of this chapter, Krishna is not telling Arjuna to become only a thinker. He's not saying, just sit and collect ideas. He's showing him how knowledge should purify action. When you understand deeply, you act differently. You act with less ego. You act with less fear. You act with less selfishness. You act with more purpose. You act with more calmness. This is very important. Because real knowledge is not just something you remember. It is something that changes your life. If a person says they know truth but still lives carelessly, blindly, selfishly, and without awareness, then that knowledge has not yet entered deeply enough. So Chapter 4 gives a complete message. Learn deeply. Burn ignorance. Be humble. Seek truth. And then live from that truth. Chapter 5. When you feel pressure, even while doing everything right. Arjuna looks at Krishna and says, I am doing everything I should do, but still my mind feels heavy. I don't feel peace. Krishna answers calmly, you are not tired because of your work. You are tired because you are carrying everything inside your mind. You are working, but at the same time you are thinking about results. You are imagining the future. You are trying to control what has not even happened yet. And that is why your mind feels pressure. Think about your own life for a moment. You are doing your work, but your mind is somewhere else. It is thinking, what if this fails? What if things go wrong? What if I don't get what I want? Because of this, even simple work starts feeling heavy. The problem is not the action. The problem is the attachment behind the action. When your peace depends on the result, your mind becomes restless. When your happiness depends on an outcome, you lose your stability. Now understand this deeply. You don't need to stop working. You don't need to stop caring. You don't need to give up your goals. You just need to stop carrying everything inside. Do your work with full effort. Stay committed. Stay disciplined. But inside, remain free. Work like everything depends on you, but stay peaceful, like nothing depends on you. The moment you stop holding everything so tightly, your pressure starts disappearing. Chapter 6. When you realize your mind is controlling you. There comes a moment when you notice something very uncomfortable. Your mind is not listening to you. You try to focus, but it runs away. You try to stay calm, but it creates fear. You try to move forward, but it pulls you back with doubt. This is where most people lose control of their life. Not because life is too difficult, but because their mind is not trained. Your mind keeps moving between past and future. It reminds you of mistakes. It shows you worst-case scenarios. It creates imaginary problems. And without realizing it, you start believing everything it says. Now pause and ask yourself honestly, are you controlling your mind? Or is your mind controlling you? Because if your mind is your master, your life will always feel unstable. But this can change, not in one day, not instantly, but slowly, with practice. Every time your mind runs, bring it back. Every time it creates fear, bring it back. Every time it goes into overthinking, bring it back. Again and again. At first, it will not listen. It will feel difficult. You will feel like nothing is changing. But if you stay consistent, something powerful begins to happen. Your mind starts becoming calmer. Your thoughts start slowing down. Your reactions start becoming controlled. And one day, you realize something important. The same mind that once controlled you is now working for you. A controlled mind can stay calm in chaos, take action without fear, and focus without distraction. That is real strength. Chapter 7. When you stop believing everything your mind says. Most of the confusion in your life is not because life is complicated. It is because your thinking is not clear. You see something and immediately create a story around it. You feel something and immediately believe it is true. You think something and assume it must be right. But your mind is not always showing you reality. Sometimes it is showing you fear. Sometimes it is showing you desire. Sometimes it is showing you insecurity. And you accept it without questioning. You think something will make you happy, but when you get it, the feeling fades. You fear something will destroy you, but when it happens, you handle it. So what is happening? You are living on the surface. You are reacting without understanding. Now start changing this. Instead of believing every thought, start questioning it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Is this really important? Or is my mind exaggerating it? Slowly, you will begin to see clearly. You will stop chasing things that don't matter. You will stop fearing things that are not real. You will stop reacting to everything. And when your vision becomes clear, your life becomes simple. Clarity removes confusion. Awareness removes unnecessary suffering. Chapter 8. When you understand that your thoughts are creating your future. Look at your daily thinking pattern, not once, but again and again. What do you think about most? Because that is shaping your life. If your mind is always focused on fear, your life starts feeling heavy. If your mind is focused on growth, your life starts moving forward. Your thoughts are not small. They are powerful. What you repeat becomes your habit. What becomes your habit becomes your personality. What becomes your personality becomes your life. This is happening every day, whether you notice it or not. Most people let their mind go anywhere. They keep thinking negative thoughts, worrying about things, overanalyzing situations. And then they wonder why their life feels stuck. But the truth is simple. Your life is moving in the direction of your repeated thoughts. So start becoming aware. Bring your focus back to what matters. Again and again. It will not be perfect in the beginning, but slowly your thinking will change. And when your thinking changes, your life begins to change. Chapter 9. When you stop fighting life. One of the biggest reasons you feel tired is because you are constantly resisting life. You want things to go your way. You want everything to be perfect. You want situations to match your expectations. And when they don't, you feel frustrated. You think, this should not happen. This is not right. This is unfair. But that resistance creates suffering. The more you fight reality, the more pressure you feel inside. Now understand this clearly. You cannot control everything in life, but you can control how you respond to it. You can keep fighting everything, or you can learn to accept and act. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means you stop wasting energy on things you cannot change. You still take action. You still give your best. You still move forward. But inside, you are not constantly fighting what is happening. And this creates peace, because now your mind is not stuck in resistance. You trust yourself. You trust that you can handle whatever comes. And that trust removes fear. You become calm, not because life becomes easy, but because you stop fighting every moment of it. You don't need to change everything outside. You need to understand what is happening inside. When you stop holding too tightly, your pressure disappears. When you train your mind, your life becomes stable. When you see clearly, your confusion disappears. When you control your focus, your future becomes powerful. When you stop fighting life, your peace returns. And this is where real change begins. Chapter 10. When you start seeing power everywhere. There comes a moment when your thinking begins to change. Earlier, you were only focused on your problems, your fears, your small struggles. Everything felt heavy because your vision was limited. But now something shifts. You begin to notice something different. You start seeing strength in places you ignored before. You start seeing beauty in simple things. You start seeing intelligence in how life works. And slowly, your perspective expands. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you start asking, "What is this teaching me?" Instead of feeling small in every situation, you begin to see that life is much bigger than your current problem. Look around you. There is power in nature. There is discipline in time. There is intelligence in how everything moves. Nothing is random. When you start seeing this, something changes inside you. Your mind becomes less negative. Your thinking becomes more mature. Your reactions become calmer. Because now you are not trapped in your small view. You are connected to something bigger. And when your vision becomes bigger, your problems become smaller. This is not imagination. This is awareness. The more you see clearly, the more you understand that life is not working against you. It is constantly showing you strength, balance, and order. And once you start seeing this, your mind stops feeling weak. Because now, you are no longer alone inside your small thinking. Chapter 11. When your ego breaks and you see reality. There are moments in life when your old thinking cannot survive anymore. Moments so powerful that they break your ego. Until now, you thought you understood life. You thought you knew what is right. You thought you were in control. You thought everything was about you. But suddenly, you see something bigger, something that makes you realize you are not the center of everything. Life is much bigger than your plans, much bigger than your fears, much bigger than your control. And in that moment, your ego shakes. This can feel uncomfortable because your identity starts breaking. Your old beliefs start falling. Your assumptions start collapsing. But this is not destruction. This is awakening. Because ego always keeps you limited. It makes everything personal. It makes you react to everything. It makes you believe you are always right. But when ego breaks, clarity enters. You stop taking everything personally. You stop reacting to everything emotionally. You stop trying to control everything. You become quieter inside. And in that quietness, you start seeing truth. Not through your ego, but through awareness. This is one of the most powerful transformations in life. When you stop living from ego and start living from understanding. Chapter 12. When your heart becomes calm and steady. Strength is not only in the mind. Strength is also in the heart. There are people who look strong outside, but inside they are restless, angry, and unstable. And there are people who look simple, but inside they are calm, steady, and peaceful. Now understand this. A peaceful heart is not created by controlling everything outside. It is created by how you live inside. When you stop being full of ego, your heart becomes lighter. When you stop comparing yourself, your heart becomes peaceful. When you stop needing validation, your heart becomes stable. When you stop reacting to every small thing, your emotions become balanced. This is real inner strength, not loud, not aggressive, not trying to prove anything, just steady. You start becoming someone who does not get disturbed easily, does not react instantly, does not lose control quickly, and because of that, people trust you. Life feels calmer. Your decisions become clearer. A steady heart makes a powerful life. Because when your emotions are stable, your actions become strong. Chapter 13. When you start understanding yourself deeply. Most people know everything about others, but they don't know themselves. They know what others are doing. They know what others are saying. They know what others think about them. But when it comes to their own mind, they are not aware. Now look at yourself. You have a body. You have thoughts. You have emotions. But are you only these things? Or is there something deeper watching all of this? There is a part of you that observes your thoughts, that notices your emotions, that sees your reactions. That part is deeper than your mind. When you become aware of this, something powerful happens. You stop reacting instantly. You start observing first. You see your anger before acting on it. You see your fear before believing it. You see your thoughts before following them. And this changes everything, because now you are not controlled by everything inside you. You are aware of it, and awareness creates freedom. The more you understand yourself, the less you are controlled by your habits. The more you observe, the more you rise above automatic reactions. And slowly, you become conscious, not just living, but understanding life while living it. Chapter 14. When you understand why you behave the way you do. Have you ever noticed? Sometimes you feel calm and clear. Sometimes you feel restless and distracted. Sometimes you feel lazy and heavy. Your behavior keeps changing, and you think, this is just how I am. But look deeper. Your state is not random. It is influenced by your habits, your environment, your thinking, your actions. Sometimes you are driven by clarity, sometimes by desire, sometimes by laziness. And each state creates a different version of you. When you are clear, you act with purpose. When you are restless, you chase things without thinking. When you are lazy, you avoid action. Now the question is, which version of you is leading your life? Because whatever dominates your mind dominates your life. If you stay in clarity, your life moves forward. If you stay in restlessness, your life becomes chaotic. If you stay in laziness, your life becomes stuck. So what should you do? Become aware of your state, and slowly choose better. Choose clarity over confusion. Choose discipline over laziness. Choose awareness over impulsive behavior. This is how you change your life, not in one big step, but in small daily choices. And those choices shape your future. You are not here to stay confused. You are not here to stay controlled by your mind. You are not here to live in fear, ego, or restlessness. You are here to understand, to grow, to rise. Step by step, your vision becomes bigger, your ego becomes smaller, your heart becomes calmer, your awareness becomes deeper, your life becomes stronger, and slowly, you become someone who is no longer lost inside life, but someone who understands it. Chapter 15. When you stop living for what will not last. Arjuna stands quietly. Something inside him is no longer the same. He's not fully transformed yet, but he is no longer lost like before. He's beginning to see. Krishna speaks, calm and direct. You are giving your life to things that are temporary, and expecting permanent peace from them. Look at your life honestly. Everything you are chasing, everything you are afraid to lose, everything you are stressing about, it is all changing every moment. Nothing stays the same. Not your position, not your success, not your struggles, not even your identity. Yet you live as if everything is permanent. You build your emotions on things that are constantly shifting. That is why your peace keeps breaking. You celebrate what will fade. You fear what will pass. You attach yourself to things that cannot stay. And in doing that, you lose connection with what is always within you. Life is like a tree. What you see outside, your work, your image, your problems, these are just branches. They change with time, with seasons, with situations. But what holds everything together is hidden. Your roots, your awareness, your inner clarity, your deeper self. If your roots are weak, even success will feel unstable. Even happiness will feel temporary. But if your roots are strong, even in chaos, you remain steady. So stop investing your entire life in what will not last. Build something inside that does not depend on circumstances. Because the moment you understand what truly matters, you stop wasting energy on what doesn't. And that is where real peace begins. Chapter 16. When you take responsibility for who you become. There is something inside you that you cannot ignore. You have felt it many times. One part of you wants to rise. It wants discipline, growth, clarity, truth. Another part of you wants comfort, distraction, excuses, and escape. This is not confusion. This is your inner battle. Some days you wake up with focus, you feel strong, you want to improve, you act with intention. And other days, you delay everything. You avoid effort. You fall into habits that weaken you. Both versions exist inside you. The question is not which one exists. The question is, which one are you feeding? Because your life is not shaped by what you know. It is shaped by what you choose daily. Every time you ignore discipline, you strengthen weakness. Every time you choose effort, you strengthen power. Every time you react with anger, you lose control. Every time you pause, you gain control. No one is forcing your life in any direction. You are doing it through your repeated choices. So stop saying, "This is just how I am." You are not fixed. You are being created every day. When you choose clarity over confusion, you rise. When you choose action over delay, you grow. When you choose awareness over impulse, you become stronger. And slowly, without even noticing, your higher self becomes your natural state. Chapter 17. When you change what you believe about yourself. Your life is not controlled by your situation as much as it is controlled by what you believe. Two people can stand in the same place, face the same challenge, and yet live completely different realities. One sees possibility, the other sees limitation. One takes action, the other holds back. The difference is not the situation. It is belief. What you believe about yourself shapes everything. It decides how you think, how you act, how you respond, and how far you go. If you believe you are not ready, you will hesitate. If you believe you are not capable, you will stop trying. If you believe life is against you, you will feel stuck even when opportunities are around you. But here is the truth most people ignore. Your belief is not reality. It is something you have built over time. It came from your past, from what people told you, from what you repeated in your mind again and again. And because you repeated it, it started feeling like truth. But anything that is built can be changed. The moment you start questioning your belief, Your thinking changes. The moment your thinking changes, your actions change. And when your actions change, your life begins to move in a new direction. So be careful what you accept as truth inside your mind, because what you repeat becomes your belief, and what you believe becomes your life. Chapter 18. When you finally decide to rise, now everything becomes quiet. The confusion that once controlled you is no longer as strong. The fear that once stopped you does not feel as powerful. The overthinking that once trapped you is slowly fading. Not because life became easy, but because you started understanding. Arjuna stands there, but he is no longer the same person. Earlier, he was full of doubt, fear, and emotional collapse. Now he is steady, not perfect, but clear. And in that moment, Krishna does not force him. He does not command him. He simply leaves him with awareness. Now you see. Now you understand. Now the choice is yours. This is the most important moment of your life too, because no one can live your life for you. No one can make your decisions. No one can force your growth. You can listen. You can understand. But in the end, you must choose. You can go back to your old patterns, overthinking, delaying, doubting yourself. Or you can move forward with clarity. You can keep waiting for the perfect moment. Or you can take action now. You can stay controlled by fear. Or you can act despite it. Everything you need is already inside you. The clarity, the strength, the awareness. It is all there. It was never missing. It was just covered. Now the question is not what should I do? The question is, will I act on what I already understand? Because real transformation does not happen when you learn something new. It happens when you finally decide to live differently. This was never about a battle outside. It was always about what is happening inside you. And once you see that clearly, you cannot go back to living unconsciously. Because now you know. Now you understand. Now you have a choice. And the moment you choose to rise, your life begins to change forever. Listen carefully. If you stayed till this moment, this is not just a video for you. This is a turning point. Right now you have two choices. You can close this video and go back to the same thinking, same fear, same confusion. Or you can take one step forward. Not a big step. Not a perfect step. Just one honest step. Because your life does not change when you learn something new. Your life changes when you decide to act differently. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware. Aware of your thoughts, your actions, and your patterns. And slowly, you start changing. You start controlling your mind instead of your mind controlling you. You start taking action instead of waiting for the perfect moment. You start trusting yourself instead of doubting everything. And one day you look back and realize you are not the same person anymore. Not louder, not aggressive, but calmer, stronger, clearer. That is real transformation. You may not be standing on a battlefield like Arjuna, but inside you, the same battle is happening every day. And now, you are no longer lost in that battle. Now you understand. Now you see clearly. Now you are ready. So don't wait. Don't overthink. Don't go back to your old patterns. Take control. Start small. Stay consistent. Because everything you are searching for, clarity, peace, strength, confidence, is already within you. You just needed to remember it. What you learned. You learned that your mind can either control you or become your greatest strength. You learned that attachment creates pressure, and letting go creates peace. You learned that your thoughts are shaping your future every single day. You learned that your choices, not your situation, are building your life. You learned that real change begins inside, not outside. And most importantly, you learn that you are not weak, you are just unaware. And now you are waking up. Thank you for watching.